Hey there, YouTube. Medwitch here. Um, as everybody knows, The Force Awakens is out in theaters. Um, I don't know how many people have seen it. I don't know if you're watching this if you've already seen it. I have, so I'm not going to say anything about the movie. No spoilers. Don't worry. There's no spoilers in this. All I have to say is if you didn't see it yet and you are a Star Wars fan of and you're a Star Wars fan like I am, where the prequels were just shit and the classics were awesome, you're going to love the new movie. Plain and simple. However, I regret to inform the Star Wars community that there is a certain person on YouTube right now that goes by the name of the Vigilant Christian Mario. Oh, the Vigilant Christian Mario. Oh, I made a video on him before, getting on him about just his stupid nonsense about specific movies being satanic and that, you know, Illuminati bullshit. Well, I'm here to basically bitch about another. He's attacking Star Wars now. A Star Wars. I mean, seriously, the greatest thing that's ever happened to movies ever. Star Wars. So, this is the one I'm going to be talking about. Star Wars, The Satanic Force Awakens Exposed. As you can see, it's at the beginning of the video. So, yeah, but uh, this is a two-part. He made a second part of this. It's not numbered, but it's where he's actually face to face. This one is just a picture of one of the Star Wars Force Awakens posters with graffiti all over it. But I'm not going to be showing you the video like this the whole entire time because there's nothing to show. There just isn't. But there is audio, so I'll be playing the audio. Uh, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It is 16 minutes, 17 seconds long. So I just want to go on to a few key points, and it's in the beginning of the video. The rest of the video is just him saying how it's new agey and it's leading kids and people into being devil worshippers or some bullshit like that. So, but the main part I want to get to is that he tries to use, I should say, an interview with George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, against him.
You here for another edition of Satanic Illuminati Media Exposed. In today's video, I want to make an expose on the new Star Wars movie that's being put out in theaters this weekend called Star Wars The Force Awakens. You've obviously heard about it. This is a massive, massive, massive thing. And I needed to make an expose for it because there is a very subtle, sinister agenda. Listen to this.
I think my last mentor probably was Joseph Campbell. Joe Campbell, who asked a lot of the interesting questions and exposed me to a lot of things that made me very interested in a lot more of the cosmic questions and the mystery. When I was 10 years old, I asked my mother, I said, well, there's only one God. Why are there so many religions? And over the years, I've been pondering that question ever since. And it would seem to me that the conclusion I've come to is that all the religions are true. They just see a different part of the elephant. I put the Force into the movies in order to try to awaken a certain kind of spirituality in young people. More a belief belief in God than a belief in any particular, religious system.
All right, so there you.
All right, so there you have it. My impression of the Vigilant Christian. This right here, that last part that was said was a portion of an interview with George Lucas. I forgot who did the interview. I did watch it. It was a pretty interesting interview. It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's on YouTube. But what I got from what George Lucas was saying is he brought up his childhood when he was a younger person. He said 10 years old. That, and I'm pretty sure that during that time Christian was very prevalent in American society, and it still is today. Don't get me wrong, Christianity is still a very prominent religion in America, but it was most likely more so when he was a younger lad himself. And I mean, he's a kid. What kids don't? I mean, what kids don't ask questions? That's what kids do. They ask questions. Why? Why is the sky blue? Why is ketchup red while mustard's yellow? That's what kids do. His question to his mom was, and I'm only assuming that his family was Christian or is Christian, and saying, well, if there's only one God, why are there so many religions? And that is a very valid question to ask. Why are there so many religions if there's only one God? And he goes on to saying that he created the Force to awaken a spirituality in young people for essentially to believe in God, but not in any particular religion. Now, this is very Masonic in that way. There was a documentary on the Masons saying that G stands for God, whatever you see God as. And that's what it is. He also said something about, it's people looking at the elephant a different way, or from a different side. That's just like my coin argument. I have a coin argument. You hold up a quarter to somebody's face. You hold the head side towards them while the tail is towards you, right? And you say, what do you see? They're going to say a quarter. All right, what side of the quarter? Heads. All right. Now what do you see? And then you turn it to the side. And that is a very good argument, because now you see both sides of the coin. You see both sides of the story, and that's what Mr. Lucas was saying, is that he wants people to see both sides of the coin, and that's why he created the Force. Now let's hear Mr. Mario's crazy ass shit to whatever the fuck.
You have George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, saying that he used these movies to awaken a certain kind of spirituality in young people. And what is that spirituality? Satanic. It is completely anti-biblical.
In what point of that interview, that little section, did George Lucas ever mention Satan? I don't want to play it back. I mean, if you want to hear it again, go ahead, play it back. But if you can find where George Lucas in that interview says, I created the Force to awaken a spirituality in kids to worship Satan, please let me know. I might be deaf and need a hearing aid.
And it is Luciferian Gnosticism. Now, we need to stop here.
Luciferianism is technically not a satanic religion. Luciferianism is, I guess you can say it's a New Age movement. Not really, but it's kind of making headway into saying that it's not Satan, it's Lucifer, the Roman god of, he's a Roman solar deity, which means he's the energy that the sun produces, not the sun itself. And that's what Luciferianism. Gnostic, to be Gnostic, means that you do believe in a higher power, you just don't know what the higher power is. So you're going to go out and seek the knowledge for yourself. Now, there are more Gnostics now than ever before. And that is because they still believe in a higher spirituality, in a higher power, in a higher being. They just don't know what religion is right. And they're doing their own research. They say, yes, I do believe in a higher being. No, I do not practice a religion. And that's what being Gnostic is. And that is completely and totally fine. You believe in a higher power, great. You don't know what that higher power is? That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of religion. And religion is to find that higher power. Not just blindly go with the flow. You need to ask these sorts of questions. And being a Gnostic is asking those questions, is being that child. Asking mom or dad why the sky is blue. Plain and simple. So he's saying that being Gnostic is wrong because you ask questions. That's what a Gnostic does. They ask questions. They're basically modern day philosophers, Greek philosophers. That's how I view the Gnostics, is they are modern day philosophers asking the question why.
And even focus on a few other things that he said. Notice what he said here. He had a conversation with his mom when he was 10 years old, and he was questioning, is there only one God? And he couldn't wrap his head around that. So he fell away into...
Of course, a 10-year-old will not be able to wrap his head around a one God religion when he's looking, when there's evidence of other religions that have a different name for God, or other religions that are polytheistic in nature who have many gods. So yes, to a 10-year-old who was born and raised into a Christian monotheistic religion house, he's going to wonder. He's going to wonder why, Mama, the Bible says there's only one God. Why, if there's only one God, why isn't everybody Christian? Why are there Muslims? Why are there Jews? Why are there Hindus? Why are there Buddhists? Why? Again, it comes down to that question, why? So if asking why is a sin, put it down in the Bible. Make people shut up. If you can't ask why, then you don't deserve to know anything at all. Plain and simple. I question everything I come across. If it is not written in stone, if it has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt that it is fact and not just a theory, which religion is just a theory. But I'm pagan, I'm religious, I'm a spiritual person myself. I still even ask, why did the gods do this? Why did the gods behave this way? Why do people who follow these gods behave the way they behaved? I still ask that question. And because I ask why, I go out and I do my research to figure out why. So if it's wrong to ask why about anything at all, I don't care if it's Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism, I don't care. You need to ask why.
New Age, Gnostic, Eastern metaphysical, false spirituality. And not only that, but really got awakened to that form of spirituality so much that he wanted to share it with his audience.
Now, I'm not going to speak for Mr. Lucas, and I don't know what Mr. Lucas believes in. I don't know if he still is a Christian or if he converted to some other religion. The Eastern metaphysics spirituality Mario's talking about is most likely Taoism or Buddhism. And to be completely and totally honest, in Taoism and Buddhism, it's not about an external force. It's about your internal force, finding balance within yourself, finding the peace and harmony within your own heart. Not some form of, devil worshipping, calling the force and moving object halfway across the room. I mean, so that's what metaphysic Eastern philosophy is Buddhism or Taoism. Basically just a shit ton of meditation in different forms. I mean, people meditate all the time. I don't care what religion you are, you meditate. It's very calming and relaxing.
And subtly impose the force so that it would work to awaken them to that form of spirituality that is clearly against God and His Word. So be on guard, be vigilant. There are satanic, Luciferian, Gnostic preachers who are creating movies and in them placing their spiritual beliefs to share that with people. I don't need to create a movie and subtly put, like a little snake, all these subtle biblical things in order to lure you into my belief system. But Satan has his preachers out there in Hollywood doing this. Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and all the Star Wars movie is a satanic sermon. You are watching it and you just admitted the director, the producer, he's putting in this to awaken people to this false spirituality. So it's time to really recognize this, and I've been saying this in this video series, in my exposés. What I've been showing is that this is always happening in Hollywood, which I call Hellywood, and we need to wake up to it. So, okay, now let's go ahead and break down some things here. I want to show you why, as a born-again believer, someone who follows the Lord Jesus Christ, you should never, ever, ever be entertained by this wickedness. Why would you be...
You should never be entertained by this wickedness. Now, I can understand if you're talking about, like, child pornography. Yeah, that's sick. That's twisted, it's disturbing. That I can understand you, bitching about being wicked entertainment. That's gross. It's wrong. Period. And yeah, there, some porno. I can understand. I can even understand even your normal porn. That you go to the, you go with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, and you go to the head shop and you pick up a DVD, and you come back, you put it on, and you get some ideas. A little kinky. So some people, find that sickening and disturbing. Personally, me, I don't care. I'll readily admit I watch porn. It's, that's not like BDSM or child fucking porn. I mean, that's what you should be watching out for, is the child porn. But to say that Hollywood makes wicked movies, I mean, yeah, there's some like disturbing stuff. I mean, the Centipede movies, that was, that even got me kind of queasy. I was like, oh my god, but it was still entertaining. Kind of gross, but still entertaining. Like, I kind of got me thinking, like, there's probably somebody out there who really fucking did some shit like that. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to have my mouth sewn onto somebody else's ass. I don't care, guy or girl, I don't give a damn. I don't want my mouth sewn onto somebody else's ass so I can eat their shit. Good. But to not be entertained, period. I mean, humans thrive on entertainment stimulants, whatever form you get it in, whether it's in your TV, your movie theaters, or even sitting on your chair like I am, reading a book. All my books are on my phone, and I love reading. Reading is amazing. Reading is fun, and it is entertaining. Entertainment can be found anywhere, but to say that one form of entertainment that is wicked when it's not is just retarded.
Entertained and take amusement and joy in the things which God calls an abomination. As you're going to see in the comment section, many people are going to say something like this. Well, I'm a Christian and I like Star Wars. Well,
because they're not ignorant, closed-minded assholes like you are.
Well, just because maybe you grew up in a Christian family, you identify yourself as a Christian, doesn't mean you're an authentic Christ follower.
And what is an authentic Christ follower? Please watch my Christian law videos.
Jesus Christ said on the day of judgment, many people will go to him and say, Father, Father, have I not? And list a whole bunch of things that they've done, supposedly for the Lord, and God will look at them and say...
To be clear on that, the things that they say are basically good, well-meant things, you know? And apparently, according to Mr. Mario, only Christians can do good. Only Christians can be pure. You know, so someone like me who, you know, I mean, once I turned pagan, I still went to my former church from when I was a Christian. I still went to my former church as a pagan, not for sermons or for worship or nothing, but to help out in community cleanups, soup kitchens, food drives, clothes drives. You know, I even participated in a couple of their like little holiday plays too as a pagan, because I felt they were doing because I felt those parts of their practices were good in pure intentions, and I wanted to be a part of that. But no, only Christians can do good. That's apparently what Mr. Mario is saying.
Depart from me, I never knew you. You can't be lukewarm, and just because you call yourself a Christian doesn't make you one. You need...
Just because you call yourself a Christian, Mario, doesn't make you one.
Need to walk in obedience to the Lord. This is actually a fruit.
Again, watch my Christian law videos. If you do, if you walk into obedience to the Lord, God, you know, then just from that, you're just a piece of shit. Sorry to say. And sorry if I offend any other Christians.
Of you actually being a disciple. Jesus said, if you love me, you must and will obey my commands. So,
very demanding.
Those Christians who are commenting that, they probably just grew up in a Christian home, they've been living like the world forever, and they really don't truly know God, or they're young and new to the faith, and they will, by the Holy Spirit, be shown these things so that they do not partake in the things that are an abomination to God. Alright, so, yeah, let's get into it. Now, right off the bat, one thing that these satanic Gnostics always do in Hollywood...
This is going to be the last portion that I make that I talk about.
Hollywood is place the truth in plain sight, but also they manipulate it. Now, where does Star Wars come from? It actually comes from the Bible. In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7, we see here that it says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Check this out. There was a war in heaven. A Star Wars. And even if you look in the Greek at the word heaven, check this out. It's actually, wouldn't know how to pronounce this, but Uranus or something like that. And the definition of it is this.
The pronunciation of this Greek word is Uranus. Uranus. The star mantle above the world. The visible heavens, the atmosphere, the sky, the starry heavens, and the spiritual heavens. Alright. I just wanted to let you know that it's pronounced Uranus.
The visible heavens.
Star Wars is first and foremost a fictional movie. It takes place in a galaxy far, far away. And to equate the title to a verse in the Bible, you're just looking for stuff. Honestly, you're just looking to make everything bad. I don't know, who touched you when you were a kid, but you're seriously fucked up. All right, you just seriously, just fucked up in the head. And as for Star Wars coming from the Bible, if you actually look at the storyline from Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, till now, The Force Awakens, I guess you can. I mean, you know, Anakin Skywalker was born on the desert planet Tatooine to a virgin mother. In the storyline, she was never married, she never had sex, and she still had little Annie Skywalker, who was the only human who can pilot a pod racer. So, essentially, he had that gift going for him. He became a student of the Force, and throughout his career as Anakin Skywalker, Padawan Knight and Jedi Master, he struggled with the inner turmoil of good and evil. Even in the episodes, you could really recognize this in episodes 2 and 3, where Anakin starts to become more and more angry, more and more upset, more and more, focused on the physical world instead of worrying about the inner peace that Yoda would eventually teach about the balance between the Force. And as a Star Wars fan myself, the Force is actually a great analogy for God in any sense. It is a very good analogy because in the Christian Bible, God created everything. So if he created everything, that means he obviously created the devil to try to, pull us towards the dark side of the Force, while God tried to pull everybody towards the light side of the Force. And even in the Bible it says, do not fall in love with the world. Well, Anakin fell in love with the world when it came down to Padme. At the end of the third movie, he's sitting there. He's saying, if I can't have you, no one can. And he wants her to live forever and not die in the childbirth that he foresaw was coming. And he would have stopped at nothing to keep her alive. So he went to the dark side because it was alluring, because it was he thought it was beneficial to him, when in reality it wasn't. And that is what the Bible itself teaches, is Satan is this great deceiver, and he'll tell you lies and everything. Well, guess what? Palpatine told Anakin lies, saying, I can help you save your wife. I can make it to where she never dies. I can make it to where you never die and you have ultimate power and all this other BS. And you know what? You could actually technically see, Yoda, as God, and Palpatine as Satan, So, in that sense, Star Wars is the Bible, but just in a more science fiction way. A pagan brethren of mine made a debunking video of his part 2 to the Satanic Force Awakens. And it completely just awesome. And I want to show you his page real quick. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you can write this down, and I hope you guys can see it okay. But he debunks Vigilant Christian in a video response. It's a bit lengthy, but it's well worth watching. This is Vigilant Christian's second portion to this. Please head over there. He is an amazing person. I greatly appreciate him. He was actually the one who drew my attention towards the Vigilant Christian getting on Star Wars. He himself has watched some of my videos and told me about this. As a Star Wars fan, I will defend it till I die. Star Wars is an amazing series of movies, even if Jar Jar Binks is in it. Yes, for those of you who like Jar Jar Binks, I hate Jar Jar Binks. He's a moron. And yes, he is secretly a Sith. Well, that was me bitching about the Vigilant Christian getting on one of my favorite things. You don't get on something that I love as deeply as I love Star Wars. So, Vigilant Christian, I suggest to you, you claim to be knowledgeable in a lot of things. You claim to be peaceful and whatever, that you're a good Christian. Well, I have just one last thing to say to you. Start being more open-minded, you frickin' bigot. Fuck off. To everyone else, as always, blessed be.